The dish we're making today is easy to do, and oh so delicious. Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making some carnitas. Carnitas is delicious. And look, this is a Mexican dish, and it is a dish that is, well, it's prepared with care. Basically, carnitas means little meats, but what we do is we take pork and we cook it in a very special way with just the right seasoning, and when it's done, it falls apart. It's delicate, it has the most incredible flavor, and it makes wonderful main course. It makes great tacos. You can add it to all kinds of stuff. So let me show you this fantastic dish. This is pork carnitas. Oh, before we get into this though, let me ask, please, take a look in my description box right down underneath the video here. That's where the links to my website are going to be, as well as all of my social media. Also Wisio and Patreon. So please, if you would like to help out, please consider doing so through either Wisio or Patreon, and it's very appreciated. And until then, please come over, take a look at these ingredients, and let's get busy making some carnitas. Come on. The ingredients I'm using today, well, it starts here. This is just a plain pork butt. Now, it's not really the butt of a pig, it's the front shoulder. So this is the, sometimes called a picnic, sometimes called a butt, but frankly, folks, it's just the front shoulder. On the cow, this would be referred to as chuck. All right, now, over here, we're gonna be using some lard, and I'm gonna use a lot of lard for this. And we're gonna be using an orange, garlic, some bay leaf, and I've got cinnamon right here. All together, when this is cooked the right way, you get the most incredible, delightful, soft, tender, beautiful meat you've ever eaten in your life. And it's not a hard cook. It does take time though. By the way, this recipe works well if you have a crock pot. I need to get my lard from the tub here into this. Now I could just go at it and start working it out of there, but I like using my head about things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to heat it up on the outside here with some hot water, and that way the lard will release from the bucket much more easily. It'll be a cleaner process. Okay, I've had my little bucket of lard back there in a hot sink. Let's see if that helped out any. Maybe it will. Well, looky there. Isn't that nice and convenient? All at once. Okay, so we've made our job just a little bit easier. I've got my lard down in here. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, what is he using all that lard for? Well, folks, real carnitas are braised in lard. That is how they're made. That's this dish. And it is flat delicious when it's done. And it's just slow cooking in lard. So when you braise in a liquid, and this time the liquid we're using is fat. All right, now as I have my lard in my pan, I'm going to go ahead and get some heat underneath it. It doesn't have to be a high heat. I'm going to prepare my spices to go down in there. Now there's not a lot of work on these two, but the garlic, I need to get it out of its paper, and this I need to go ahead and cut him up. Okay, so I'm going to quarter this, and then we're going to start cutting the meat. And the meat can be cut into large pieces. We're looking for about fist-sized pieces on our meat here. And and the size you cut is up to you, but remember, folks, they do shrink a whole lot as they're being cooked. Now, something I do want to mention, this, while it looks kind of different for a lot of folks in the United States, this is actually a traditional dish, and I'm making it in a very traditional way. So please stick with me. This is fun, and there's some really good stuff coming. All right, so on my spices, this is not just a real difficult thing. And of course, the bay leaf, we just take it and toss it right on in. Now, this right here, this cinnamon is some rolls of cinnamon, and it's easy to break, so I'm going to break it open, toss it down in there. Doesn't need a whole lot, just a little. That way it releases its oils easier. All right, now garlic. I'm going to just break them a little. All right, they're going to be in there a long time. they're going to give up everything they have, all right? So you don't have to go through a lot of processing on that garlic. No, sir. There we go. Now, right here, we got this orange ready to go. Now, I'll say this. When it comes to this dish, the orange peel is a lot more important than what's inside. You can put the whole thing in there. I recommend that, but the peel is what we're really going for here. All right, down in here. So the next things that are going to go in there are going to be meat, straight up. This guy right here. All right, now it's time to get this carved up. And as I mentioned before, we're looking for fairly large pieces. How you go at this is your business, all right? You don't have to be pretty about this. We're just looking to get it cut down, all right? So you notice what I did? I just went straight at it, right down through about 1/3 across the roast. Now I'm feeling that bone, and it's right here. So there we go. Now everything that I cut off of this is going to go right down into that pot, every bit of it. Okay. So now there's that bone right there. Cut down along that. See there? Take my knife, cut the bottom of it. Okay, so we can get it free in a little while. All right, now. There we are. Boom. So we can see how when you have even a bone in, just take you a good sized knife and go at it, folks. And don't be afraid of it at all. All right? After all, there's no such thing as cutting it the wrong way, all right? We're just cutting chunks of meat. All right. Imagine what that's going to yield. See, that's going to fall apart right on that fat line. Just throw it in there. Okay? Look at that muscle. I can see him right there. Yep. Right there. Isn't that nice? You just cut it and put it in there. Now, in the event the query comes out, do I use the bone for anything? Should I save it? Absolutely. That bone and all the associated meat is nothing but pure flavor, ladies and gentlemen. So you definitely carve out that bone and keep it, all right? Because it is worth it. Now, the rest of this though, it's the pot. Now the bone, if I want, I can cook it separate. I can cook it with this. It'll do fine either way. And of course, my thinking is, when you got that much lard going on, why not take advantage of it, right? Now, unfortunately, that ain't going to fit in there. So I'm going to save it for another show. That's probably going to be a stew recipe or who knows what. We'll turn it into something. All right, there it is. We have it all down in the pot and ready for this to be in the oven. And this is just going to slow cook at 275 degrees. It's in the lard, and as soon as that meat kind of shrinks down a little bit and the lard on it dissolves, this will all be down in the liquid pretty soon. So just give it time, be patient. You don't have to stir it very often, but about once every hour, go in and just kind of move things around a little bit and then leave it alone. This is slow cooking, and slow cooking just takes time and patience. I have a big pot filled with pork. There's lard in here. I'm not worried about the pork on top because this thing is going to cook down. I can put salt on this, but that really needs to come later in the cooking, okay? This is going to be slow cooked. I'm cooking at 275 degrees. It's going to go in the oven. This is the same as using a crock pot, all right? All right, it's in the oven. all I've got to do is just go and do other things, occupy my time, because this won't be ready for many hours to come. I'm looking at probably, I'm just guessing here, but I'm looking at probably about 4 to 5 hours of slow braising here at 275, but it could run a little longer. We're gonna keep up with that, all right? So I'll let you know how that runs. We're gonna set a timer here. This is my Winco timer. I'm gonna set it at a total of 5 hours, all right? And we're gonna look at what we have left when I pull this out of the oven. All right, start. On a 5-hour countdown, folks. All right, I have just pulled this out of the oven to give it a stir. It's gonna be kind of difficult because of how full it is, but I'm gonna try. Back in the oven it goes, for it needs plenty more cooking. All right, we are down to 11 minutes left out of the 5 hours that we started with. Now what I've got here is a pot where, like I said, the chunks would start shrinking a little bit, so now I can actually get in there and stir things. I can lift it and move it and get things to move around on me. And from what I'm seeing and smelling, the aroma is absolutely beautiful. It's exactly what it should be. The meat is coming right along. Has a lot more cooking to go though. So that meat needs to be fall apart tender, and it'll get there, but it's going to take it a couple more hours. Just no rush here. That's the thing about carnitas. Once they're cooked and they're done, then they're done. All we do is just crisp off the outside, which also washes off the lard, and then it's ready to serve them. So I'm going to reset my timer here. We're going to set a couple hours on there and see what it looks like. All right, back in the oven. All right, I had just checked that meat to see if it was tender enough, and it is quite literally falling apart. Yeah. Oh my God, the flavor. It is just delicious. Now, we're going to get that pot back out. I'm going to put all the meat on this, and then we're going to crisp it up in the oven under a higher temperature. Okay. I was just readjusting my oven rack. Okay, so the whole idea here, the meat is fully cooked at this point. It's cooked and it is flavored. There is a lot of flavor from all of the spices that we put in there. And folks, it is really good. I mean, I wish you could taste some of this because it is just so good, it's exciting. Now, one at a time, I'm going to pull these chunks that are very delicate right out of here. We'll get them on the sheet pan. We'll get them back in the oven. Now I need to adjust my oven temperature. I need to increase it to about 400 degrees, between 400 and 450. Should work fine for you. I find 400 works good for me to do this. All right, there we have all of the meat is now out of that lard. Now folks, let me tell you something. This doesn't make everything fatty. No, you just cooked in the lard, all right? Which also tenderizes the meat. It's wonderful. And I've got these beautiful, wonderful, super tender, delicious marinated pieces of meat. They marinated while they cooked in that lard with all of those flavors. It's delicious. Now, I have my oven. It has been preheating for me, and as soon as it's up to 400 degrees, these go right in there. All of that lard's going to wash off. There'll be a little bit on the bottom where it's sitting, but that's all. It's going to be all in the pan when I'm done, and it's going to crisp up on top, get a little brown, and they will be absolutely perfect at that point. All right, it's time for these to hit the oven. It's at 400 degrees, center rack. All right, I just need to give that a couple of minutes. It's not going to take long, so keep an eye on it. It's not like it's going to be in there 30 minutes. So our total time now, this has 25 minutes left. All right, and that means that total cooking time now has been, what, 6.5 hours. And that's to the point of getting it in the oven. Now, as soon as those are crisped up, I'm going to pull them out, put them in a bowl, and they're ready to serve. And here's the thing. You can make tacos, make enchiladas. You can just eat the carnitas by themselves if you'd want. Put them with some beans if you'd like. There's a lot of ways of enjoying this dish, all right? So please break out some ideas for yourself and enjoy. Put some on a baked potato. How about a nice salad topped with carnitas? There's a lot of choices. Now, the quantity of everything that I've used today started right here. Let's 12 pounds of pork roast. Now, as you've seen, we removed a lot of fat. There's also the bone that was in there. So you're talking a lot less in the way of meat. Actual regular meat that hit the pot, we're looking at about 8 to 9 pounds, and it cooks way down from there. Of course, the lard that I used started with just about 4 pounds of lard. Now, I had a little removed, but we're looking at almost 4 pounds there. 1 orange, as many garlic cloves as you like. You can go 5 to 8 nominally for this dish. A couple of sticks of cinnamon. These were good sized ones, so if you wanted to go with 3 smaller ones, that would work. And a bay leaf. Also, you could use some oregano if you would prefer to go with Mexican oregano instead of the bay leaf. That would really give you a little more authentic flavor. Let's take a look at our gorgeous carnitas. The way these things come out, oh, I can't wait. I do believe it's time to pull these from the oven. Oh, yes. Oh, it looks and sounds delicious. 15 minutes left on a total of a 7-hour time that we did. Wow, that's just beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill my bowl here with carnitas. Beautiful browned. Everything kind of right with the world carnitas. Try to get it in my bowl so it makes a nice display. All right, and there it is. We've got carnitas all ready to enjoy. That wasn't so hard, was it? Well, there it is, all finished up, put in a bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, that is perfection when it comes to meat. Delicate, falling apart, and absolutely delicious. All right, everything is all finished up out of the oven. Look at that, just quite literally pulling apart. Oh, buttery soft. So delicious. Folks, you want your meat to be super tender. You want it to be just absolutely flawlessly delicious. This is a good way of doing it. Inexpensive cut of meat, that pork shoulder. And we've taken it and we've elevated it to something very, very special. Now, if you've got a question, can you save the lard? Yeah, filter the lard. You can save it and reuse it. You can braise in it multiple times, okay? So don't be afraid of that. This is really good tasting, and you're gonna love this recipe, so try it. Please take a look right down below in the comments and in the description box. Description box has the links to my website, also to my social media, to my Wisio and Patreon, where if you want to help me out, you can. Or you can just go to my website, try out the recipes that are there. Right now, the cinnamon rolls recipe is free, and you can get some of the other merchandise I have for Texas Cooking Today. Do me a favor, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Click the bell so you know when I post. Also, drop me a comment down below, and a thumbs up is always appreciated. Folks, enjoy your carnitas. I'm about to make some tacos.